Here we go, folks. One of the most anticipated matchups of the entire regular season. Two national championship contenders, each ranked in the top 5. Which side can step up and deliver on this big stage? Welcome to Athens, Georgia. We are between the hedges at Sanford Stadium, home of the Georgia Bulldogs. As we'll see one of the top teams in this conference, the Texas Longhorns, taking on the winners of 3 straight, the Georgia Bulldogs. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Chris Fowler here with Kirk Herbstreit. Let's get this thing underway. The Bulldogs will kick this away to start us off. Long kickoff, no chance for a return. It'll be a touchback. Just underway, and this home crowd is fired up and ready to make a difference today. Offense will keep it on the ground here. Run it up the middle, but stop for no gain. Texas and Georgia hasn't taken long for these two to establish a rivalry in the SEC. 2 memorable collisions last season, regular season in Boston. The Georgia pass rush just got after Texas. Hard-fought, close win. And then the rematch for the SEC championship game. Another game where Georgia just made enough plays, Kirk, to win.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great matchup every single time these teams get together in the SEC. Having Texas with their tradition, what Sark's doing with that program, obviously what Kirby's doing with Georgia. It's one of those matchups every single year when they're up on the calendar. You circle it. 2 great games last year. Georgia finding a way to get it done both times. You got to believe that Sark and Texas looking for payback.
Back to throw. It's Manning. Quarterback looks to his right and finds his man. They stop him at the 47, but that's enough for a first down.
That's exactly what you want to see here from this offense. A big 3rd down conversion. Offensive line did their job, giving a quarterback enough time. Great read, good execution, throws the ball accurately. And now you got some momentum going here on this opening drive.
Here comes a first down pass attempt. Pulls it in. It's Moore. Kirk, both sides told us they knew this was going to be a challenge. The biggest test they've had so far this season. Good to see this matchup get off to a good start. Bodes well.
Chris, I'm just excited to see how this game's going to unfold. Both of these teams are going to be so fired up throughout the entire game. I think it's going to be a true test of wills between 2 teams that have performed as they're destined to be in that postseason at the end of the year.
There's the tackle, but first down yardage.
And that's a good, nice, crisp run for a first down. Don't forget, good blocking up front by the big fellas. And this running back, he just seems to have a nose for that first down marker. A few more runs like this, and he's going to be getting into a rhythm for sure.
Looking to throw it on first down. Catch made on the right side. They stopped the receiver, but that's a solid gain in that play.
One thing I love about this back is how he gets involved in the passing game. Nice catch here.
And completion makes it 2nd and short. And they'll run it out of the shotgun. He stopped, but he gets a first down.
Just what a great battle here at the line of scrimmage. Good push by the offensive line, and the back does enough to be able to pick up the first down.
Longhorns begin a new series here, 1st and 10. Looking to throw. It's Manning. Defense is coming after him. And it's incomplete. The defender arrived the same time as the football. And now it's 2nd down. Both teams trying to set the tone in this high-stakes collision here. Kirk, a long way to go. We expect this battle to come down to the final minutes.
So both these teams have been chirping back and forth during the week. I'm sure they're finally excited to be out on the field together. And this is the kind of matchup you just have to have an aggressive mindset, attacking all game long, and find out who the best team is late in this game.
Who makes the grab? They bring him down after a short gain there. And here comes the noise. This crowd is trying to inspire this defense to make a big red zone stop. Third down play here out of the shotgun. And as he releases it, and the pass ball is incomplete.
When a defense picks the right time to get after this quarterback, third down, critical down and distance, do a good job of dialing things up, and good coverage downfield. He didn't have anywhere to go with the ball.
And the coach chooses to go for a field goal attempt here. This will be a 35-yard attempt. The field goal is good. So we have our first points on the board. That makes it 3-0.
Snap, the hold, the kick, everything there perfect to put 3 points up here for the offense.
He'll return it from inside the 10-yard line. He's got some daylight turning on the speed. They get him down, but he found a good lane in that return. So the drive starts with pretty decent field position. It's a run to the left. And this one goes nowhere. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
It was an excellent effort by this defense, just staying in their run fits, holding their own at the line of scrimmage, and then making a tackle. Offense just couldn't get enough of a push to get any yards at all.
What's the play call here on second down for this offense? Dropping back. It's Stockton. Looking for his back. Caught near the sticks. It's Frazier. He's brought down, but not before getting into enemy territory at the +47.
Well, it's so easy to get caught up in the receivers and the quarterback, and your eyes get lost. You forget about the running back. Nice catch and a first down for this offense.
First down here for this offense. Quarterback adjusting now to the defense. Trying to flex the ground game here. Running back takes the handoff. He's wrapped up nicely there by the freshman.
Defense does a really nice job here of being able to contain that run game. Held him just at 2 yards. Chris, to me, this changes the playbook a little bit now for the offense. The guy calling the plays at 2nd and 8, that's a different deal. Now he's got to probably thinking about going through the air instead of staying on the ground.
Second down play coming up.
3:25.
Out of the shotgun, he'll hand it off. Tough running there, but not quite enough for a first down.
You know, in the RPO game, the quarterback's got to make really sound decisions on that read. You either give it when it's the right time or you pull it out and make the throw. Here, I think he's kind of in that gray area, decides to hand it off and at least picked up some positive yards.
Dropping back, it's Stockton. The receiver makes the catch. Nowhere to run. They'll corral him for no gain.
Good job here by the defense on third down. Forget about throwing downfield. They go short, and they make them pay for it with a loss of yardage.
The Dogs will come to the line looking to convert on fourth down. Fourth down. He's throwing for it. And they can't complete it. It's a turnover on downs. Defense stepping up there.
Oh, my gosh. A drop pass here on this fourth down play. Everything was perfect. The execution is there. The route is nice. The ball is on the money. All he has to do is catch it, and it's a first down, and he drops it. This one could come back to haunt him.
First play of the drive, they'll come out throwing. And it's incomplete, even on the first down throw. He was under some heavy pressure.
Well, this quarterback and his receivers have got to get on the same page. They've got to find a rhythm if they want to move the ball down the field.
Now it's second down here. He's looking to throw. Looking right, this one caught. Tackled, but not before he gets into enemy territory at the 45.
Defense kind of lost a running back here. Makes a nice catch and gets the first down in the process.
That completion good for a first down. The offense working with a new set of downs here. Looking to throw here. Catch made on the left side. Tackled after a solid gain. It's enough for a first down, and that should wrap up the first quarter of play. They flipped into the field, ready now for the second period. So here we go, first play of the quarter. The offense has a first down. From the shotgun, it's a handoff. Picks up 3 yards, so second and 7.
Chris, I know it's not a huge gain. You didn't pick up the first down, but it's still early in this game. Never abort this running game. You keep working. It's kind of like a body blow in a boxing match. Keep wearing the defense down, and eventually you can hit a big one.
To throw, it's Manning. Looking to scramble. Caught over the middle. It's Moore. They bring him down, but the gain sets up the offense first and goal from the 10.
Chris, a great ability by this quarterback to get outside of the pocket and place the football right where it needs to be for the first down.
First and goal, handoff. Couldn't quite get there, brought down at the 2.
Just love watching this back run. Gets behind that offensive line, lowers his pads, and gets a nice solid gain.
Solid first down gain sets the ball up close to the goal line, and they finish it off here on second and goal. He's swallowed up at the line, could not get past that big defensive tackle. Longhorns come to the line in a hurry up. Third and short, they give the ball to the tight end. And he's brought down there.
A great stop here by this defense to bring us to fourth down and decision time for the head coach. You go the easy route with a field goal, or this close to the goal line, you take a chance and try to get that touchdown.
So a yard away from the end zone. The offense will go for it here on fourth down. Hebe keeps it himself. Lost the ball short of the goal line. Well, he's pushing, but he didn't make it. A fourth and goal stop.
Oh, man. You got to feel sick when this happens. 1 minute, you're thinking about putting 6 points on the board. The next, you're wondering where the ball went. Heads-up play by this defense to corral that and flip the script. Here's
the first play of the drive now from the 20-yard line. Here's that defense shifting again. And the single back takes the handoff. They test the middle of the defense, but get nothing on the play.
That back just had nowhere to go. Got to give credit to the defense and their run fits on that play.
Second down after that run on the previous play. And the ball is handed off out of the shotgun. Well, they test the middle there, but get nothing.
How about the timing here by the defense to shoot that gap? As an offensive lineman, you have to anticipate that, close that gap off. Otherwise, it could be a long day.
So a tricky situation here. Third and very long inside your own 20. How much of a risk do you take? You know this defense could be very aggressive at this moment. Running back grabs it on a screen. Solid gain there. Moves the ball up to the 32.
Great patience here. Great execution by the entire offense. The quarterback kind of baits the defense towards him, drops it off to the back, and he's got a convoy in front of him for a nice first down.
Georgia setting up with a 1st and 10 now. Looking for some space. It's Frazier.
Hey, it's a great job of this defense containing the running game. But if I'm calling the plays, I'm not abandoning the running game just yet. I think it's important to have some sense of balance. So throwing and running is essential. Stick with it.
It's the 2-minute timeout of what's been a really competitive game so far. Chance for the offense to take the lead before the break. Offense getting set. Second down play here. Here's the handoff. That's a nice wrap up there by the junior.
Love this early in the game by this defense. Taking control of the line of scrimmage, not giving this back anywhere to go, and they keep him short of the first down.
Third down after that running play. Quarterback pre-snap adjustments now for this defense. Back to pass. It's Stockton. That one is incomplete. The defender was right there, and it brings up 4th down now.
And I was hoping he'd be able to hold on to that football. That would have been a big play there on 3rd down. Now a big decision coming up here on 4th.
The Dogs will line up to punt it away. He's on to boot it away now. No chance for a return. That football bounces away from the returner and heads out of bounds. Offense out there for the first play of this drive from the 18. On 1st and 10 here, looking to throw the ball. Snags the quick throw. They make the tackle, but that pass creates a solid gain. The Longhorns come up to the line to crank the tempo up here. Looking to pass here on 2nd down. Quick throw, catch made on the out route. Finally out of bounds after a solid gain, but there is a flag on the field. So let's check this out. Offense getting set up. Here's 2nd down. There's the snap. Quarterback setting up to throw. And it's incomplete. Just missed the wide receiver there. Well, a serious challenge for this offense. You don't want to be in third and long inside your own 20. How much of a risk will they take to try to pick up this first down? To the air, it's Manning. And he's looking to make a big play downfield. And it's intercepted. He stepped in front of that bullet. Not much room in that return. Tackled at the 16, but an important takeaway for this defense.
It's third and long, so as an offensive coordinator, you can either play it conservative or trust your quarterback and take a shot downfield. They elect the latter, and it ends up backfiring.
Here we go, the first play of the drive, less than a minute to play before halftime. On 1st and 10, looking to throw. Running out of time in the pocket. Pulls it in. It's Thomas. Timeout is called to Tuck strategy late in this close game with halftime approaching.
This is an example of a quarterback and his offense just taking what the defense gives you. Not a huge play, but positive yards. The defense wants to give that throw to you. You take it, get the ball to your receiver, stay ahead of the sticks.
Receivers now getting some new assignments before the snap. 2nd down, looking to throw it. He lets it rip. Oh, and he misfires just beyond the receiver's grasp.
Well, they don't make the completion here. The timing seemed to be off between a quarterback and receiver. But, man, this defensive coordinator, he may want to consider getting more pressure on this quarterback by changing some things up. You've got a lot of time back there to throw the ball. And eventually, that's going to cost you.
Looking to pick up the first down through the air. Quick throw over the middle. Incomplete. They cannot connect on the deep ball.
Man, on your own side of the field, you're playing a risky game here. 3rd and short. Your goal should just be keep this drive alive the best way you can sometimes is just hand the ball off to your running back and have him get behind that offensive line and go to work. Curious to see what they do now here on this 4th and short.
And on 4th down, the punter sends it away. That one lands and bounces out of bounds. Here's the first play of the drive. We start at the 28. Looking downfield. It's Manning. Throws it to the right. And he's intercepted. He goes down, but snags the ball and gives this defense a takeaway.
Boy, we're just here in this first half, and this defense is all over it. That's their 2nd interception. Good job of pressuring the quarterback, making him uncomfortable, and forcing the ball into coverage.
So they start the drive looking for some late fireworks here, less than 30 seconds before halftime. Looking for a gap. It's Frazier. Slams right into a wall. They've got him for a loss. Offense stops the clock with their 2nd timeout to talk strategy.
Chris, I think we all kind of get caught up in 3rd down. What's an offense doing on 3rd down? But I think what's also important is how well do you defend 1st down. If you can hold your opponents to a short gain or a tackle for a loss, you throw the offense out of whack, and their game plan gets much more challenging to try to come up with that 1st down.
Tackle finally made. That's a very solid gain, but not close to 1st down yardage yet. And now the offense will call a timeout. Something the coach didn't like about this. Crucial play coming up. So just before halftime here, out comes the field goal unit. And it sails right through the middle of the uprights. Solid kick. And that will tie the game here. And that will do it for the first half here. Kevin Connors now has our halftime update. Longhorns will kick it away to get us going in the 2nd half. offense begins at the 40 after that penalty. Obvious false start there, moving too early. So it looks like the penalty will be accepted by the head coach, and the offense will pick up some yardage there. Linebacker shifting around now. Quarterback making adjustments now to what the defense is showing. Looking downfield, it's Stockton. Going for his running back. Makes the catch. It's Frazier. Heads out of bounds after a solid gain.
As quarterbacks, when you see man-to-man coverage, before the ball's even snapped, you're looking for a matchup you want to exploit and take advantage of. This time, he waits for the back to find that matchup with the linebacker, makes the throw, and picks up a first down.
This line getting set up. It's a first down play. From the gun, he looks for an open man. Looking for a man deep down the left side. Touchdown, Georgia. And that will give them the lead now.
Well, that's a well-oiled machine right there. Everyone on this offense has been a star in their roles. And when they're rolling like this, it results in quick and positive results.
Kick is good, and the kicker got clobbered. Flags all over the field. Pretty easy call for the head coach. He will accept that penalty, of course. So after putting up the touchdown, the kickoff team is out there to boot it away. And he'll lead the kickoff right there. We'll start from the 25. Play of the drive, they're going to throw the football. Looking to set up a screen pass here. The defense all over it. They stop him right at the line.
Boy, great defensive linemen not only have the ability to get upfield to rush the quarterback, but that instinct to recognize a screen pass. Good job of sensing it and making a play.
The pass rush closing in. Swarmed by the pass rush. A sack.
Boy, what an incredible push by this defensive line. And if you're going to survive in the SEC, the teams that really separate themselves are the teams that have great defensive linemen, especially in the interior. And Georgia has had an incredible legacy over the years, and it's nice to see that this player right here is trying to live up to that.
So here comes third and long. Giving up that sack has made this a real challenge for the offense. Looking to throw it on third and very long. Can't hold on. Good defensive play. Brings up a fourth down.
What a hit there on third down. The timing was perfect, and now we got a big fourth down play.
Longhorns will send the punt team onto the field. Did not get a hold of it. Not what the punter was hoping for. See if he can make something happen with the return. The coverage team able to bring the returner to the ground. Offense is back out on the field. They scored a touchdown on the last possession. Let's see if this defense has been able to come up with some adjustments and stop them this time. They bring him down, but this offense now in scoring position. First down from the 30.
All right, Chris, let's face it. Most of the offensive linemen today, they're big. You know, they weigh over 300 pounds. But that doesn't mean they don't have to have agility. And the way they can get out there in front of the runner, create space, sometimes it looks like they're going in one direction, and a runner uses his eyes to take him in another direction because he's been blocked so well. Love those misdirection or counter plays, and this one worked out really well for a nice piece of yards and a first down.
Back to pass. It's Stockton. Looking to throw it deep. Oh, he could not hold on. Would have been a huge gain.
Chris, I thought he had his hands on that football. I thought he was going to come down with it. But give the defense all the credit with a big hit to knock that ball loose.
Following the incompletion, 2nd and 10 from the 30. Quarterback checks the defensive look, makes some adjustments. The back's got it. First down and more. He's still on it. He moves the ball to the 7-yard line. Offense has a 1st and goal now.
What a really good run by this running back. The defense fortunate to be able to bring him down inside the 10-yard line. But it's 1st and goal for the offense.
And the Bulldogs will line up now. It's 1st and goal. Keep it on the ground on 1st and goal. And this time he stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Defense all over him that time.
That play was perfectly defended. You know, sometimes as an offense and an offensive coordinator, you hit a wall. And it's time to mix some things up on what you show the defense.
We'll see if the offense can punch it in on 2nd and goal. They'll try to power it in right up the middle. Going absolutely nowhere. That'll be a loss on the play.
Nice job by this defense on that 2nd down, so we now have 3rd down and goal. The offense could be thinking about 4-down situation. They need to put the ball into the end zone. They don't want to settle for a field goal here.
Great job by the defense so far. It's 3rd and goal from a long way out. Goes to his right side there for the completion. Fights into the end zone. Touchdown, Bulldogs. That's a crucial touchdown for the offense, padding its lead now here in the 2nd half.
Yeah, you get into this 2nd half, you start to count possessions and how big your lead is. Now that you're up 2 possessions, you can start to play really smart football, not just on offense, but on defense as well.
The extra point is good, and they stretch the lead a little bit more. Got momentum after scoring that touchdown. Now the kickoff team out there to kick it away. And it comes out of the 25. No return attempted there. And the first play of the drive now from the 25. Back goes in motion now. Let's see how the defense adjusts. To the air. It's Manning. Quarterback delivers complete to the right side. To get him down quickly, not much of a gain on that completion. Made the catch, but he was surrounded for not much room to run.
They did a really good job that time of leveraging him out in space. I thought he might have a chance to be able to shake loose because he is so elusive. But defense, as you said, did a really good job in the open field surrounding him. Just nowhere for him to go to pick up any more positive yards. Well, everybody talks about sacks, and they're very important. But sometimes just the rush, the pressure, affecting the quarterback is just as effective. He didn't have a clean throwing lane, and they forced the incompletion.
Looking deep to the right side. And that's incomplete. They weren't afraid to let it fly, but it brings up a 4th down. The Longhorns will bring their punt team onto the field.
The offense takes a big shot here downfield. I thought they may have a chance, but the defender makes an unbelievable play to get a hand on the ball and knock it away.
And the returner is tackled by this punt coverage team. Comes the opening play of the drive. They begin from the 33. And they'll keep it on the ground. Running back has the handoff. And tests the middle and gets stuffed. That is just not open for business today.
Well, that's an excellent effort here by this defense, staying in their run fits. They holding their own at the line and making the tackle. The offense just couldn't get enough of a push to get anything going there.
Offense getting set. It's second down. They'll change the pre-snap look now. To throw. It's Stockton. Taking a deep shot here to the right. Oh, and a chance there for a game-changing interception. Couldn't quite come up with it. Sets up third down now.
Oh, Chris, he almost gave one back there. This quarterback needs to be much more careful working with a 2-touchdown lead. That's not how to protect it.
So the offense getting set. This is not where you want to be against this defense. Third and long. Dropping back, looking to throw for the first down. He escapes the pocket. They'll try a pass here. That's reeled in. It's Thomas. Stopped right near midfield. It'll be a first down.
Well, this quarterback is unflappable. Here they are working with the lead in the second half. Get to a third down. You got to throw the football. This is where you trust the quarterback to make a good decision, an accurate throw. He does it. You convert, and you keep working that clock.
Georgia getting set with a 1st and 10 now.
Here we go. Denver.
Handoff from the shotgun. Oh, he fought hard there, broke a tackle, but brought down short of the sticks.
Hey, listen, you don't always have to have big plays to be successful. It's a nice, solid gain here, keeps you on schedule, and you get ready for that next play.
Offense getting set for a second down here to begin the quarter. On the ground, it's Frazier. Defense gets him down, but they'll take the gain on that play.
Well, they didn't bust that for a big play, but it makes this third down coming up a little bit more manageable, and that certainly has a lot of value.
Offense needing to keep this drive alive. It's a third down play. They'll try to move the chains here on the ground. Stopped on third for no gain. Going to be 4th and 1 now. Well, they run the ISO play, but the interior O-line just overwhelmed that time.
Yeah, give the defensive line all the credit in the world because they just manhandled this offensive line. They won the line of scrimmage. It's a very simple play. You should be able to, at the very least, get some positive yards here, but not when you lose the battle up front.
No surprise, offense going for it on 4th down.
Let's go.
Kill, kill, kill.
Ringo, Ringo. Valley Stunner.
That player moved a little bit too early. It's a false start. And the head coach will decide to accept the penalty and take the yardage. The Dogs will bring their punt team on the field now. He's on to kick it away, helping his team with field position. And at 4th down, they'll punt it away here. And the punt will go out of bounds, taking the returner out of play. Takes the handoff, and he'll head left. And the senior able to make the stop after a short gain.
You know, in the era that we live in right now, everybody wants to spread the field around, try to create space, try to create one-on-one matchups, and the defense has countered over the years by trying to play out wide. But here's a great example. The defense has the ability to play wide, but still be solid at the line of scrimmage, not give up big run plays.
Brought down to the 23, good enough for a 1st down.
What a great job to be able to establish some rhythm to an offense. When you can run the football like this, it just opens up the playbook. You can continue to run. You can go to play action. You really keep the defense on their heels when you can run the ball like this. Nice play.
Out of the shotgun, he hands it off. The gain is 3. Now it's 2nd down and 7. Handoff here from the shotgun. And the defense able to hold him there to a short gain. So a very makeable 3rd down for the offense from the 29. And from the shotgun, an inside handoff. That's good for 1st down yardage. They'll spot it at the 37. Final 2 minutes as this offense desperate to get some points here quickly and try to stage a big comeback. The Longhorns will have 1st and 10 here. And they'll run it out of the shotgun. It's good for a 3-yard gain, so 2nd and 7.
Hat on the hat up front. Good job of opening up the holes. Anytime you get positive yards on 1st down, that's a win.
2nd down after that run on the previous play. Out of the shotgun, he'll hand it off. And they'll stop him short of the line to gain. Here we go, 3rd and short on the 7th play of this drive. From the shotgun, it's a handoff. 0 running room, stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
Well, the defensive line does their job eating up those double teams, freeing up the backers to make the play.
This matchup had folks around the country stopping and paying attention. We expected a tough battle right down to the final minute, but this was a blowout as number 1 just gets humbled.
I'm just in complete shock. You know, anytime you see 2 top-5 teams, you'd always expect to see a competitive game. But this number 1 ranked team, I don't think they were mentally prepared, plain and simple. When you're facing a top-5 opponent with a bad mindset, things like this are going to happen.
And that is going to do it. We enjoyed being here. For Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Chris Fowler, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.